Happy lunch hour, guys. All right, still Tuesday, second video for the day. And this one kind of came out a little bit this morning. Of course, not by the US media again, but important for us to know. Anybody remember the movie Wag the Dog? This was probably 20 plus years ago or whatever it was. And the premise of this one was you had a president who was involved in some sort of massive scandal, and in order to save his presidency or whatever, he hired a news crew to start a war, basically, manufacture a war. Yeah, okay. Sound familiar to now? Let's take the Biden presidency and every freaking scandal he's got, okay, and CNN trying to manufacture a war. The problem is this isn't just going to be manufactured on a television screen. Literally, they are trying to manufacture it in real life. Okay, and I'm going to put a couple of things together here. Now, y'all know for the course of the last, 6 weeks or whatever, that the media has been pushing this thing that Russia's about to invade Ukraine. And as Constantine put it on his channel, that where they're amassing troops is 200 miles from the Ukraine border. And as I've said too, it is on Russian sovereign territory. Who cares? It's no different than if we amass a bunch of troops in Miami, all right? Or Fort Bliss, Texas. I mean, hell, that's El Paso. That's right on the Mexican border. The Mexicans aren't worried about us invading, okay? But yet we have an air defense artillery battalion there and an armored cavalry regiment. So, what is CNN doing? They are basically being the war machine for the Biden administration. And the policies that the administration are being dictated literally by CNN. I kid you not. Now, y'all know the saying, war is my business and business is good. I'm not just going to stick this on the Biden administration. I'm going to stick this on both sides, okay? I mean, you can go back to Dick Cheney and Halliburton or whatever it is, but, let's talk about current times. The top 5 defense contractors' contributions to political campaigns in 2020, okay? Lockheed Martin, Raytheon Technologies, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, and L3 Harris, okay? L3 Harris was on the low end at $2.6 million, and Lockheed Martin was number 1 at just short of $6 million. If you look at them all, the top 4, Lockheed, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, and General Dynamics, all contributed very close to 50%. 50% to the Republicans, 50% to the Democrats. The only one that was tipped in one way I take it back. It was all 5, and L3 Harris was as well. I was just going down to number 6, and it gets too small. But all of them contributed pretty close to 50-50. I mean, the biggest differential was General Dynamics that went 52 Democrat and 47.8 Republican. Okay, so 50-50. So the defense contractors are playing both sides of the fiddle here. They'd be more than happy to make sure that, hey, let's go to war, we make money. All right. So what's going on? Well, apparently, according to CNN, of course, this one's actually according to the Russian media, American nuclear-capable bombers are flying sorties across Eastern Europe within 20 kilometers of the Russian border. Okay? Told you last week about us reactivating a nuclear missile battery in Germany with Moscow as the target. Okay. Now we're going to fly bombers right along the Russian border. Interesting. Okay. Then you get into, again, this from CNN. The Biden administration is looking to arm Ukraine with Mi-17 helicopters. Now, these are Russian-made helicopters, okay, first off. but they're used as gunships. They're not like the Mi-24s. They're not that gunship, but Mi-17s are used either as troop transports or as gunships. Okay, very deadly helicopter. But also sending Ukraine javelins and stingers. Javelins are anti-tank missile systems, and stingers are anti-aircraft missile systems. Okay. Are we pushing for war? Russia's not doing it. Putting troops 200 miles away from a border is no big deal. All right. Think about what 200 miles is. Like I just said, Fort Bliss is, literally a couple of miles away from the Mexican border. Not a big deal. We're not invading Mexico. I mean, Fort Drum to Canada. We're not invading Canada anytime soon either, as far as I know. Okay. But now we're talking about sending serious military hardware to Ukraine. And remember, Ukraine is not a NATO country. So the U.S. is under no obligation whatsoever to help Ukraine if Russia did do something. So why we have to stick our freaking nose in it? But if we're flying nuclear-capable bombers around and sending serious weaponry to Ukraine, is that provocation? Yeah. Okay. The Ukrainians are talking about going into Donbass and them moving on the offensive. This is something to really, really be careful about. I know, 6 months ago, we talked about with all the troop movements down actually close to the border at that point that Russia was doing, and nothing came of it. Now, we're going to have Ukraine basically backed by the U.S. doing the same thing. I mean, you poke the bear enough, and eventually the damn thing bites. And if something like this goes off, and we've all talked about it before, watch what happens with Ukraine, Russia. Watch what happens with China, Taiwan. Watch what happens in the Middle East. Okay. But I have a feeling that because the Biden administration is in such dire straits, I mean, hell, his approval rating is now down to 36%. Okay. So you're talking barely 1 of 3 people in the country approve of him. All right. So he's trying to do something that will rally the people behind him. War ain't going to do it anymore, Joe. We just got out of a 20-year freaking war. Okay. And mind you, to give you this, if you think that NATO is all this fine and dandy, NATO has been in one war since it's been formed. That was in Afghanistan. We lost, okay, fighting against a bunch of guys in pickup trucks with AK-47s. Certainly don't want to fight against a nation that's got nuclear capabilities. So, Joe, this is not a good idea. Because I want you to remember one thing, guys. War doesn't determine who is right. War just determines who is left. That's it. Pinball out.